Hi everyone, welcome to ED3440. The first 3 weeks of this course will concentrate on the new national curriculum and the 2 subjects within the new national curriculum, digital technologies and design in technologies. It's important that we really concentrate on the curriculum document because Queensland is starting these new subjects next year, so they're the subjects that you'll be using when you get out and start teaching. The first subject, digital technologies, is mainly to do with ICTs, information communication technologies in education, and the second subject involves design in technologies, which is focused on the importance of design and design thinking, whether they be with digital technologies or not. The big change includes separate subjects in these 2 areas rather than integrating ICT across the curriculum. In the previous subjects that we delivered, the emphasis was on how to integrate ICT across the curriculum, which of course we'll still be doing, and that's still important, but this is a big change that means from the early years right to the end of Year 8, students will need to look at 2 separate subjects starting at the early years, so that's a really big change rather than integration. Now during the first week, PowerPoint slides will be posted on the website that look at an overview of the national curriculum, and you'll be able to access the national curriculum draft document from that first week's subject site in subject materials. Now each week there'll be a discussion question. It'll be compulsory for the external students to make 1 post to this discussion board per week, sometime from Monday to Thursday, and we'll be reading and responding to most of those posts, so it's very important. In the internal subject we have the interaction in the lecture and people have the opportunity to do that, but for the external subject it's critical that everybody participates in posting, and when you post you can respond to the discussion questions, and you can also add links to other important resources or videos that are on the web that you think might help people's understanding for that area, and then we can all build and contribute for each week's theme. As well as the content, there's a very important practical ICT task that ties in very well with the national curriculum, because in the national curriculum in digital technologies there is an emphasis on being able to design websites, to understand data and how data is represented, and to have some sort of engagement with programming and have students interested in programming. So in doing this WebQuest activity you'll be able to also use the second subject, which is design and design thinking, in putting that together. And so when you look at the assessment and read through, you'll see that both comes into it. So it's very important that you read carefully what's to be done and that you start on it in week 1, because it's not the sort of activity that you can just put together really quickly. You have to have a look at it in week 1, get a really good idea of what it's all about, and then face-to-face students will be able to have tutorials, and the external students, you have access to videos where we go through the same things that we go through in the tutorials, and you can play that little video as many times as you like so that you can see what happens when you build a website in Google Sites. Now we're using Google Sites to create this web-supported learning activity, so if you haven't got a Gmail address, you need to get a Gmail address as soon as possible, because having that address also gives you free access to a whole lot of tools such as Google Sites, but there's other things in there as well, like Google Drive and all sorts of things that you get access to for free. When you make this website, you can't use a template or a wizard. You have to make it from scratch, and the reason for that is you learn how to do the things that are needed to be done to construct the website. When you're teaching later, you might want to put together something very quickly using a web template or a wizard, but then there's always some things that you need to change or add, and if you don't understand how it all works, then you can't do that. So it makes it very limiting when you're using something like a wizard if you don't know these things, whereas if you do, you can quickly use a wizard when you're busy teaching and change things that you need to change and so on. Now, as well as the content and the ICT practical task, we have themes after the first 4 weeks, and those themes are important elements in understanding either design or using ICT across the curriculum. And the themes, as well as the national curriculum document and what you need to know there, they are all potential themes that will form part of essay questions in the examination. And the national curriculum documents, understanding those, that's important too for the first little bit of a test that we do online, just to see that you've gone through there and you do understand that document and you've followed it through. So, just recapping, the important things to remember are go through the content each week. If you're an external student, it's compulsory to make one post on the discussion board sometime between Monday and Thursday, and we'll respond to those. And the other important thing to remember is in week 1, go through and look at the WebQuest activity and get your head around what you need to do, and then think about what you might do and work on that continuously. It's not the sort of thing that you can leave to the last minute, as I said before. I've chosen WebQuests for a particular reason. There's a lot of different ways that you can construct websites or web-supported learning activities, but I know some people may not have done that before, so this gives a lot of scaffolding. You'll notice that there's links on the website to all sorts of resources because there's so much on the web to support the use of WebQuests. Some universities have whole subjects on WebQuest, so the material's online, then there's the official WebQuest site, and there's videos, slideshows, you name it, help files. And the reason for this is because it's a very popular standardised template for creating a web-supported learning activity that's focused on not just finding facts, but on problem solving and higher order thinking. And because I think that we need to concentrate on those sort of things more, it's an ideal way to support it. And the other way that you support it is by looking at design thinking strategies that your students will also look at under the new subject, and you'll think about those when you design the whole activity. For example, if you're constructing a web-supported learning activity for a Year 5 group of students in an isolated area in a small state school, you would not only have to really think about the user carefully, you'd have to think about the system that the user operates in, you know, the particular school, the state system, the fact that it's isolated, the reading age of the students, all sorts of things when you're putting that together. So think about these things when you're looking at the design thinking framework, and that will help out a lot. So I'm really looking forward to working with you, with the face-to-face students. I'll see you, and the external students will have lots of interaction going on in that discussion board, and I'll post videos like this during different weeks so that I can have a bit of a chat with you. Okay, so that's about it for now.